If you're like me, probably the first place you heard of Manti was when you were watching Let's Make a Deal and you saw Manti Hall there. But I got to Turkey and I found a much better Manti. Manti is dumplings. They're very tasty dumplings filled with either lamb or beef. They came up from Mongolia and came out of the Anatolia region of Turkey. Kind of tough to find. I've been to Turkey a couple times, and you don't find them everywhere like you do maybe a doner kebab or something like that. But we're going to make our own Manti here, and it's not that tough. I'm going to start with 2 cups of flour. Just kind of put it right out on my countertop here. And we'll make a little well. Well, you're making a well. Why do people say stuff like that? Because they're embarrassed of the quietness that might happen if they're just cooking. All right, crack my egg in here. Make a little dam. Whoops, I said dam on TV. And here we go again. Put another one in here. And when you start mixing these up, put a little salt on the outside. You can pretend you're making a little volcano for a while, because you kind of have a little fantasy life while you're doing your cooking, especially if you cook like a bastard. Now, not that I'm a bastard, but I sure do cook like one, don't I? Just a hint of water when we pour it, top of the eggs. Not very much. Okay, we're going to see how this works. This should be good and messy. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we're going to mix these guys together here. Very lightly. And what's going to happen after we mix these up, we're going to let them sit for a little bit. And then once they're done sitting, we're going to roll them out and fill them up with some great filling. I think the wardrobe person is kind of worried about this in case I don't do it in one take, because the next tape, I've got a lot of cleaning to happen. So after you work it for a while, when you feel it's too dry, don't hesitate to put more water in. And then once you get done mixing it, you can put it in a bowl, cover it up, and my recommendation to you is to choose door 3. It always is. That's what Manti says. Hey, let's make a deal. Now, while you're letting your Manti dough sit, you want to make the filling. And the filling is even better than the outside. It's pretty simple. It's just onion, parsley, garlic, salt, pepper, and ground beef. So you're going to start by just shredding an onion here. And I'm using a grater. And after you've done that, take the small pieces and put in a little colander. Just drain off all the liquid. Help it out a little bit. You take a clove of garlic, smash it, and dice it up. You were thinking, boy, he did a lot of onions and they didn't get to him. Well, it's the delayed reaction that I'm really appreciating right now. It waited for me. It waited for me to move on to garlic so it would get the blame and not the onion itself. And pop those guys in there. Take a little bit of parsley, about that much exactly, and cut off the ends. Then just mince this. Make it small. The filling in each Manti is not very much. It's a very delicate little dumpling we're making here. I'm going to just put this in here with these 2. And so you have your beef. You flip this into here. And we just mix it up. Just mix it up a little bit. Then you take a little pepper. And then some salt. We like to use pink salt. Pink salt is the official salt of Cook Like a Bastard, Cook Like Bastard Studios. Keep the cover out. That's not very tasty. And in and mix it thoroughly. And you just let this sit for a little bit after you roll out the Manti. Pretty easy, kind of fun. That's what we're about here, though, isn't it? We're back. So after you've finished making your fillings for your Manti, your dough might be just about ready to roll out. Sprinkle just a little bit of flour on your counter. Get a little bit ready for where you're rolling. Now these are going to be thin if you think of them as being like dumpling thin skin. So, maybe about an 1/8 inch by the time you're done. And you're going to cut out 2-inch squares on these. If you have a pasta machine, you can also run it through the rollers you might have for that. That will work real well too, because that's just about the right size. Thin and delicate is what we're looking for. One thing I like to do when I'm rolling out dough is pretend what I'm looking at when my shape isn't really as rectangular, as round as I look like here. Right here, now I see like a beautiful fall setting and the horizon. Or I may just be hallucinating by how long I've been rolling this out. Either or, it's not a bad situation. You continue rolling out so it's nice and thin. You want it less than an 1/8 of an inch. That's not very much, between you and me. So once we got this out, we're going to cut it into squares. So just cut this cut off some of the excess so I got at least the right shape to begin my squares in. And about 2 inches. 1.5 inches there, 2 inches here. We're never much about the consistency in this show because you really want it to be something like you didn't go to the Manti store and get your Manti dough, right? And I was actually reading a little research here. You know what they say? The smaller the Manti, the more the love, because there's more work to happen. So we're doing about 1.5 inch style here. You think I made that up, don't you? I actually read that. But when you think about it, it's a little more work to make them smaller. And I feel that the Cook Like a Bastard audience is worth it. I can make one 6-inch by 6-inch Manti and say, "Oh, I'm done doing the Manti." But no, I'm giving you an 1.5 inch Manti. That's love, people. That's Manti love. Okay. When you go across the other way, kind of make them the same size though, because that's going to make it a lot easier. Manti love! Why does that man always yell at us? So here you go. We're going to just finish cleaning this up and then we're going to show you how to stuff it. So if everything's gone right, you got a bunch of square pieces of dough in front of you. So let me take this piece of dough right here and just kind of wet the outside. And then grab a little bit of the meat. Not too much, again. You don't want really a lot of meat in these things. Then you pinch it in half. And then pinch it in half again. And then you seal it up. Got a nice looking piece of Manti. Let's do it again. Take a little piece of dough, wet the outside. Grab a chunk of meat. Not enough that time, but you'll know the right amount. Again, put it in half, then cut it in half again. You've joined the outsides. Now seal it up. And you got a good looking little dumpling here. This is Manti from Turkey we're making. This is going to be covered in a yogurt sauce. It's going to be good. You might want to put the meat in so you know the right size. Then wet it on the outside. There are so many ways to do this. Fold in half. Make sure you seal it up. You don't want it leaking when you cook it. You want to boil these things for a long time. They get boiled for about 15 minutes. Nice square. You don't want to watch me make all these, but we're going to make all of them because we want to see what they look like when we're done. We're going to be back in a bit. So after you made your Manti, you actually have to cook it. It looks so good, but we're going to put it in a pot of boiling water, which we have right here. And so while you're doing that, we're going to make a nice little yogurt sauce here. And this is just, 2-3 minced up cloves of garlic. Put in 8 ounces of yogurt. Very simple sauce. The Manti is all coming together. It's boiling. It's almost done there. I have to quickly heat up some oil here. This is going to be a part of the sauce. And this is pretty easy. We've mixed up the garlic and the yogurt. I'm going to take about 2 tablespoons of canola oil, maybe 3 if you want, and heat this up. Now I'm using actually canola oil so I can heat it up a little bit harder and warmer. So have that for a second. Then I'm going to be flavoring the oil with this. I'm going to turn down my Manti a little bit. I think it's been there about 15 minutes. And we're heating this up. So this is hot red peppers. I'm actually using Korean peppers. You keep them in here until the oil just starts to turn color just a little bit from the peppers. You don't want to heat it up too much because you don't want to burn it. And like that, that's done. I'm going to get my Manti out of here. Now let's see how this works. There's a whole meal here. Take some Manti. A little of the yogurt and put that in the middle. Take a little bit of this pepper sauce and go over here. This is Manti. It's Turkish dumplings, and they smell good. And as I said, I'm a betting man. I bet you they're going to taste good too. A wonderful meal. They're very delicate dumplings. The yogurt kind of cools off the heat from the pepper sauce, and the dumplings come together. What a wonderful, easy meal. You can find it here. You might not find it at your favorite Turkish restaurant, but you can find it right here at the Cook Like a Bastard studio. Woohoo!